Hello and welcome to Spencer's Library. I'm Claudia and this is going to be a little update on what I'm currently reading, watching, making. If you saw my video about my reading plans for 2023, then you might know that I started this year with very few expectations of myself when it comes to reading, and so you won't be surprised to hear that it is actually going quite well. That's the trick, you set yourself low expectations and then you can't really fail. Let's start with the book that I'm currently reading, and it is this year, Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. I've been on a bit of a mid-century trip when it comes to novels. Just in recent weeks I read John Wyndham, Agatha Christie, Nancy Mitford, Muriel Spark. For the last two you'll get review videos very soon, and for the others I have already uploaded reviews. So yeah, I've been enjoying this literature from the middle of the 20th century. I don't know why, there's something about it that I'm finding quite comfortable at the moment. And this is the third Daphne du Maurier novel that I've read. So I've previously read Rebecca and I have also read Jamaica Inn. And I believe for Jamaica Inn I also have a review video. All of the reviews, by the way, that I mentioned in other videos are linked in the description box. This one came highly recommended. All I knew going into this is that it was about pirates. So it is a historical novel, even though it's published in 1941. This is set sometime in the 18th century, and it is the story of a bored noblewoman who escapes her life in London and moves to her husband's country estate in Cornwall, where she encounters a sexy French pirate. Before I get further into this is, like I said, the third du Maurier novel I've read, and it feels very different to the other two. Rebecca is full of suspense and plot twists and a sort of sense of unease that permeates the entire story. And Jamaica Inn also has this sense of something dark lurking just behind the plot, something to be revealed. This, so far, is very different. It is less suspenseful and much more of a just straight up romance. It's an escapist pirate fantasy, which, by the way, I'm not complaining about. I'm enjoying this one a lot, but I keep waiting for something horrible to happen, and so far, I'm about halfway through the book, that hasn't been the case. By the way, if I keep looking off to the side, it's because there's an older gentleman outside wandering past the house, looking into the window occasionally, probably wondering what on earth I'm doing here. Yeah, so this is a straight up romance novel so far. The protagonist is exactly as you'd expect. She is the sort of ahead of her time, bored with her life, rich lady. She has a natural disdain for the people of her class, the people who, you know, should naturally be her friends. She has a healthy dose of self-loathing as well, which always helps in a romance. And she's been just desperate for something to happen. And at the beginning of the book, we see her running away from her old life to this beautiful estate in the middle of the Cornish countryside. Well, not in the middle of the countryside, but on the coast, where she meets the French pirate, who is French and sexy. And those are the only two things you need to know about him. This has to be one of the most unfortunate cover designs. This edition of the book is from the 1970s, and I think you can tell just by the way that they made him look. So someone got the brief, put a sexy French pirate on the cover, and that's what they come up with. And by someone I mean Charles Raymond. I'm calling you out here, Charles Raymond. This is not a sexy French pirate. Anyway, I wonder how many times I can see sexy French pirate before this video gets demonetized. The sexy French pirate, who, I'm sure he has a name, but he's mostly referred to as the Frenchman in the book, seduces our protagonist, whose name is Donna, away from this life of boredom and introduces her to a lifestyle that symbolizes danger and adventure and excitement and freedom. And so she's all over that. I'm just over the halfway point now. And as I said, I keep waiting for something horrible and dark and twisted to happen. I suppose if that does happen, then you'll find out about it in my review, which I'll record once I'm done with this book. But so far, it's all just lovely, romantic, escapist fantasy. And yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. So I set myself the goal at the beginning of the year to review every single book that I read. And by review, I mean to record a review video about every single book. And so far I've done that. I am really quite enjoying those, just to take that moment of reflection, to think about what I read and to put that into words. It kind of reminds me of when I used to do end of month wrap-ups regularly. I always felt that in that format I didn't quite have the space to really ramble about a book in depth for the worry of making the video too long and for the worry of making it uninteresting for people who aren't into a particular book. But with this format of just straight up recording a separate review video for every book I read, I'm kind of bypassing that because anyone who's not interested in the review for Frenchman's Creek is just not going to click on that video. That solves the problem. After I finish this, I'm probably not going to pick up another mid-century book unless one comes my way. I'm kind of torn between a few different things that I want to read. I've sort of had a bit of a craving for a Terry Pratchett novel for a while, and that happens every now and again, and I have a good amount of Terry Pratchett novels on my TBR that I haven't yet read. So I might pick one of those, or I might treat myself to one that I don't own yet. I've been particularly interested in the Guards series by Terry Pratchett, which also came highly recommended by Jack from Spread Book Joy, who's a huge Pratchett nerd, and I'm pretty sure has read all of them. If she hasn't, then she's definitely read most of them. So I might try a Pratchett novel next if I'm feeling that. Or I might pick up a non-fiction book. I haven't read a non-fiction book for fun in a while, and there's a few on my radar, including the memoir or autobiography or anyway, the comedian Fern Brady has just brought out a book called Strong Female Character. It sounds very interesting. I think she talks about her comedy and about being an autistic comedian as well. She's absolutely hilarious. If you've seen Taskmaster, she was on that recently, but I also watched her stand-up special, which was on the BBC, and enjoyed that a lot. So I might pick up that, especially since she reads the audiobook herself, so I'll probably get that audiobook. Or, as I said, a Terry Pratchett. I don't know yet, we'll see. I am at heart a mood reader, so I really won't know what I'm going to pick up next until I make that choice. I've been enjoying making booktube videos again, as you might have noticed, because this channel is getting updated regularly every second Friday. And one video that I made, and that's ready to go, that I can't wait to share, is the one I did about Minerva. You jump in my lap and be cute, or shut up. You haven't been in a video in a while, have you? Say hello to the booktube people. Beetle is in this video as well. I don't know if you can see him there. He's in his cat bed on the windowsill, right just behind the curtain. So there's one video that is ready to go, that I've recorded, that I've uploaded, that I haven't been able to share, and that's the one I made about my project of writing songs about, or based on, inspired by classic literature. Because in February I wrote and recorded 6 basically rock songs that were inspired by various classics. It's a really fun video, I'm very proud of it, but it's been prevented from actually being published by a copyright claim from a record label. So for those of you who are blissfully unaware of this, YouTube basically scans every single video that you upload for copyrighted music. This is an entirely automated process. There isn't a single real person actually listening to the songs and trying to compare them. So that automated scan determined that about 20 seconds of one of my songs that are in the video are either copied or covered from a copyrighted song. The song that they think I covered, I've never heard in my life, and doesn't sound at all like my own song, my own composition that's in the video. Anyway, the process to get that copyright claim removed is very long. I've gone through the steps of disputing the claim, and now they, as in that record label, have 30 days to respond. 14 of those days have already passed at time of recording, and I fully expect that it's just going to run out its course, that it's just going to take another 2 weeks for something to happen. I just haven't heard back from them, and I'm quite frustrated about that. So when the video is finally released from the music industry's clutches, you will get to see it, but annoyingly not before then. It's really frustrating. YouTube is first and foremost on the side of the music industry rather than on the side of creators, that it allows these automated processes to just claim pieces and bypass all kind of human checks. What should happen is that if a creator puts in a dispute, that this should be checked through immediately by a human who would then instantly see that my song is not even slightly similar to the one that they think it is. It just puts all the onus on the creator, and I'm not surprised that that's how it works. but it's still an absolute pain. There's a little rant over. Hopefully you'll see that video soon, but I don't know when. Speaking of videos, I have recently resurrected my second channel, Claudia's House. I used to do the occasional non-book related video on that channel. Mostly I did sort of culture and politics videos about the UK and Germany and Brexit and our move here and so on. But I very quickly gave up on those because these videos just attracted the most horrendous trolls, people who would just abuse and insult in the comment section. I just got so fed up of seeing that in my notifications, of having to deal with that, because even if you block and delete comments, you still have to look at them first. I just didn't want to deal with that anymore, and so I stopped making videos on that channel. But now Claudia's House is back, and it's a knitting channel. Yes, you heard that right. Some of you know that I've been knitting for a few years now, on and off. I go through phases, and I get the occasional comment asking me to make knitting related videos. However, knitting videos are a bit niche, not really the sort of thing that I think most people here on Spinsters Library would be interested in. However, I like watching knitting videos myself. I've been enjoying them, in particular in the last few months, and so I decided to give it a go and to make some myself. If you are interested in knitting and you would like to see some knitting related content, you know where to find the link. So other than reading and making knitting videos, and knitting obviously, I've also been watching a few things lately. Bill and I made a video about that a few weeks ago, link in the description box, about what we've been watching on film and TV. It's quite a long video, it has Bill in it, so if you want to see that, go check that out. At the moment, there isn't a whole lot that's keeping my attention. Mostly I'm waiting for the release of the new series of Taskmaster, which is out soon, and the new series of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is on Amazon. But until then, there isn't a whole lot that I've been watching, so I've been watching a BBC 6-part drama called The Gold. It's a drama based on the Brinksmat robbery in 1983, and yes, I did just have to read that off my notes. So it's basically just a load of men in moustaches trying to sell illegal gold. It's kind of entertaining enough, but it's not that interesting. I'm not sure if I would recommend it, but I started watching it. I'm going to finish watching it now. However, I have also been watching adaptations of books that I have recently read. So after I finished Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, I watched the most recent adaptation of that, which is a movie from 2015. I have very mixed feelings on that. I might at some point do a book versus movie comparison video about that. Don't know if I will, but I might, because I have a lot to say about that movie. It's very pretty, and it does stick to the book in some regard, as in a lot of the scenes are just straight up taken from the book in terms of dialogue and in terms of plot and what happens, but it changes the tone of the book in a way that I really didn't like. In particular, the most striking character in the book, whom I've already waxed poetically about in my book review, who is Farmer Boldwood, has been turned from a really unique and menacing presence in the book to essentially just a sort of pitiful, sad boy who only wants to be loved in the film. And that's just not the essence of him at all. It's a real waste of Michael Sheen as well, because you know that he could pull off that really dark, unsettling type, and yeah, he just doesn't get given the chance to. The other adaptation I watched was the BBC 3-part miniseries adaptation of The Pursuit of Love by Nancy Mitford. You'll get the book review for that one soon enough. I read it and then pretty much straight away watched the adaptation. It's a very recent one. I think it was on TV either last year or 2 years ago. And I don't really have a lot to say about it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's just like the book. It's very satirical. It's very, very glamorous and very, very glamorous. And just like the book, it's quite satirical. It's quite glamorous with a rather gratuitous amount of bathtub scenes. So yeah, if you like the book, if you like that sort of early 20th century high society glamour narrative, and if you like looking at naked boobs soaked in soap bubbles, then I think you'll enjoy that one. As an adaptation, I thought it was quite fun. So that's what I've been up to. On Spinsters Library, I've been sticking with a fortnightly posting schedule, which I think is the right balance for me. I'm still not reading as much as other booktubers, and I'm still not reading as much as I used to. So I don't want to stress too much about having to keep up with reading and then talking about the books I'm reading and so on. So I'm just sticking to my pace. I'll make review videos when I'm done, which works for me, and I hope it works for you as well. Thank you for watching. Bye!